Hey everyone. So you might be wondering where I've been a minute. I just wanted to show y'all something. So this is something I've been working on. This is a project that I've been trying to figure out, and I just want to show y'all. So here's kind of how I do the map stuff with this software. Um, if you're looking into how to do this and you want to know how to do it for Beam, this is a tool called GAEA. Um, I will warn you for the build, you will need a indie license, which does cost money if you want to go over 1K. But if you don't care about that, then you're good. So let's show you where this all starts. So starts off with this tool beamNG. Um, just for an example, we'll just go here, right, and then preview. I'll show you the whole process on how I do this and walk through layer by layer how to do it, how to use masks, and just go in depth. If you're not this much of a nerd, hate to break it to you, this is not going to be a video for you. So if you want to just not watch it, you're good. But to those who want to know how to do this and maybe um, want to learn a thing or two. By no means am I claiming that I'm a professional and I really know what I'm doing. I'm still learning the program. Um, but this is a decent starting point for me and should get you kind of the basics on how you can make a map, start on something, and I'm not going to be talking to you about how to set up GAEA because they have their own channel. I'll link it down below. So this is a height map, right? And then there's the color right here. I'll just go ahead and download that. Download the height, and you can basically use that as a base. So you just go boom. Here's the height, right? You just drag that in, and boom. So there's this, and then something I always do is do a transform and bring that down to about 30 because that puts you in a realistic-ish range of the original. For this case, might even want to go lower, like 20. Like 20, that looks pretty good. Yeah, just an example, but all right, let's run through this. So same thing, transform, did this to erosion nodes, so I don't care if you copy the settings. Here, I'll change the lighting for y'all so you can hopefully see a little bit more depth in the terrain. Actually, I'm going to change over to the clay render so you can kind of see the depth and everything. And I got a rock here, another erosion, and then a thermal. It's kind of this layer, the thermal, you can kind of see what it does. It kind of helps shape up these peaks a little bit better. And I have a transpose. So there's this. So this is a constant, it's just a flat plane that it can put this outcrop into. And a gabor is just a wave. Right, then you put that into a transpose and you can kind of see this is the before kind of smooth, right? And you get up here and there's height variation. That's not a huge thing with this software. I don't really think it matters, but I decided to use it, so you can kind of see it, see the difference. It kind of adds like some cracks and stuff, and then the blur. I'm gonna swap over to the realistic render again, because it's gonna be a lot easier for you to see. There's just kind of smoothing out the lower portions, another erosion which really changes a lot. a lot really smooths this out versus like this kind of canyon-esque stuff happening. Add another thermal shaper to help kind of shape up those peaks, right? Bit better. Yet another erosion. Then this transpose is this is just a portal from this transpose to here, so this adds like more of that rock detail. Just use the height mask where it only puts it up a certain height level. Very useful. Maybe at the end of the video I'll show you guys how walk you through like a basic on how I do it. Yet another erosion. Erosion 2 is like the most used thing that I do. So here there's a bridge. So the curve is going to be something you're really going to want to use in this program. If you don't know how to make a portal, it's P and then out, and then if you want to go like P in and it's flow right there. If you want to get rid of one, just click the X, boom. So this is the thermal. I use this for a sediment removal mask, right, where the white is where it removes a lot of sediment and the black is where it doesn't. And then yet another erosion, and then you can see what this does. It really add that rock kind of texture to the upper peaks, and then yet again another erosion, and then this is the final terrain. So if you want to see so there's this. You can see the height map if you want to know how to do that. In GAEA, it's T. Pretty useful just being able to see the right, like the color. White is tall and black is deep, right? So helps sometimes. And then here we get to the color map. So a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Curves. This is really just something you're going to want to play around with yourself. Dusting I found pretty good for doing stuff like this. Here, I'll just change the lighting again. Just didn't really see the color pretty well. That helps. Portals help, and this is the final coloring. So there's like a whole bunch of so weathering, sat map. There's different sat map gradients you can use. This is just the rock. There's sand, there's grass, there's blue, there's color, and there might be more that I'm unaware of. I really just mainly stick between the rock and the sand, sometime venturing out to the sand when I need like a smoother gradient than the rock. And this is another one of those height masks. You use the curve to kind of get your mask, right? And then you can get the flow, then the curve yet again. And you use masks. White is where it paints, black is where it doesn't. So if you put a mask in, it'll paint there, and the black it won't paint at all. Then there's like a whole bunch of layers. There's flow, dust, I already showed. Texturizer, you can kind of see some of the little details that it shows up in those peaks. AO is kind of nice. You can get like a pretty cool effect going on with just using that. Same thing again. White is where it paints, and the black is where it doesn't. The gray is like where it kind of partial paints, I imagine. I'm not sure how the software really deals with that, but so this curve that kind of narrows the selection down, right, to where it only really paints. Like you can see the difference, right, in there. in there. Paint peaks, right? Flow, yet again, curve, and then this is the final color erosion. If I fully expand this, there's a height and there's a mask. If you want to know how to get masks like this, go to Tools, Options. It'll be under, I'm pretty sure it'll be General, or hold up, let's see. Viewport, no. Also, OpenCL runtime helps too if you want to help optimize your experience with GAEA. There it is. It's under nodes and it's GAEA 1 style mask ports. Took a minute to find. But yeah, so and then these are all just the export maps, AO, normals, roughness, right? A whole bunch of paint masks that I use. Then this is the final height map terrain, right, to the full, right? So there's that. That's that. That's done, right? This is the whole project. This is how it turns out. I've already rendered this in 8K. It takes a minute, but it's not too horribly bad to do. So if you've made it this long and only been recording for 11 minutes, I can show you like a basic breakdown of how I do this and how you can too. If you really want to learn a lot, I'd recommend go to the Quad Spinner GAEA channel. It's really, really good. Height map, so just throw that in, and then we're gonna go ahead. Shortcut for T is just T and then enter. Transform, we're gonna set this down to that 30, right? Okay, so there's the erosion. If you want to know a shortcut to something, you can look here and you see that CX. So if I were to go CX enter, that gives me color erosion. Erosion transform is just T crash. Don't know. So there's that. Don't know what that crash was. Here, let's go up to 2K for now. Not a professional how to use this, but I'm not going to be explaining a whole lot. I'm just going to be doing it, and hopefully you maybe learn a little bit of something from what I do. If you want to know how to move that, that's shift, and then drag. And for this, I might use clay render. Just kind of help make out those details a lot better. So I'm gonna get a transpose, and then we're gonna go ahead and get a so I'm just gonna get a Gabor and really just kind of so there's the Gabor and then embed, just so I can kind of get like a little bit of variation in the terrain, right? That isn't so natural, maybe. really mess around with the seeds quite a lot. I think that might be pretty good. Right, there's that, and then immediately after that I'm going to go ahead and add another corrosion, not corrosion, but erosion node. Node reduce down cutting quite a bit. Maybe cut down the duration as well, kind of help really get rid of that. So bed load I'm going to increase to kind of see what it does there. See these like deep valleys. If I add like a little bit to bed load, right, there we go, not so deep valleys anymore. Then discharge angle kind of helps deposit the sediments further up the mountain, further up the hill, over any other All right, so there's that, and then let's go ahead. Then I need a reference, so I'm going to use a constant for there, just the height down to 0. Then I need outcrop for the cracks. If you really want to know how to do this, like I said, go check out the GAEA quad spinner GAEA channel. They know what they're doing there, and the dude over there, Martin, knows what he's doing. So then gonna go ahead and add a height mask, drag that up, increase fall off, bring that there, then a mount. Right, there's more cracks up higher. Right, so there's that, and then let's just call that good for now, right? That's pretty good terrain. Got it really detailed from this to this, right? That's pretty good. So I'm gonna add a choke point. And then it's F2 to rename. We're gonna name this final terrain. And then we're gonna start off with a texture base. We're gonna go swap over to realistic render. So flows, soil, really just play around with this. For the purpose of this, I'm not going to be going crazy in depth. Get something like this, like reverse. Okay, so that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Okay, then let's go ahead and get a dusting. I'm gonna add a portal to this. In final terrain, boom. And then yet again another sat map. We're gonna go over to sand for this one, trying to get something usable, right? This might work if I just change it to that. That's pretty good. Then let's desaturate a tiny bit. Now it's going to combine. Input 1 is your main, and this is the overlay to the mask, and then I'm going to make a mask height. So we're just going to do that by height, then add a curve. So in final terrain, so sometimes this will happen if you hook up the curve too early. So don't know why that happens. All I do though is just add a curve to it. Boom. So there's that, right? And then you can adjust the range in here. Fall off pretty high, so make that fall off. Bring that down. So there's your mask, right? And then if I do the 100%, actually I forgot what I was doing. So boom, decrease, fall off. Really trying to get that range right there, then curve will we'll get that, boom, and then let's bring that down like that. Okay, so that's a little bit, right, different. And then let's get another sat map for the peaks. So I want the peaks to be okay, bit darker, right? So peaks, portal from final terrain, curve. I really emphasize those peaks and really bring the other ones down that aren't. So combine. So this is going to be the main. This is the mask, not the mask, but that's the color that we're going to be using as a mask. And there's that, right? So this sat map kind of sucks. I'm not a big fan of it. Let's try something like that. Bring that down. Right, and then for this, desaturate, maybe make that darker. See how that looks. That looks quite a bit better. Okay, and then really emphasize those flows quite a bit. Then the height, we're gonna get final terrain. So the mask might actually use that. So a flow, final terrain, then a curve in. So flow volume and flow length, boom. So there's that. Let's use that as a mask. Help paint, and then flow, sediment density, color hold. We're going to increase that quite a bit, just to kind of really emphasize the color, right? And boom, we're just going to call that good. So this is little walkthrough on how I do it, how I make this work. This is not my best work at all, but this will give you a basic idea of how I do it. I normally spend a lot more time making color maps. I'm going a lot more in depth than this, but this is just a basic idea. I'm not a pro by any means, not claiming that. If you have any things to comment on down below. Please feel free to let me know or let others know. Like I said, I'm still learning. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Later.